One of the most common things that's coming up for students is how to organize their Google Drive account and how to use it to the best of its ability. I don't claim to be perfect in how I use it, but I've certainly developed some skills along the way and systems that work for me. So the most important thing to remember with Google Apps is that Google Drive is your storage for all your other files. So like if you're opening a Google Doc from the Doc app up here, then it's going to be in your Google Drive as well. So when you start and you want to create a file, the quickest and the easiest way to be able to manage your files is to do it from within Google Drive, not from starting within the actual app. So I'll show you what I mean. So this is my Google Drive. You can see here I have mine in list format. That's the way I like to view it. You can press the 6 little squares up here to switch it forward and back between lines and spaces. You'll also see that my home screen is all folders, and that's because you need to use folders or a folder system within your Google Drive when you start to do it. So I'm going to start with just a straightforward folder and work from there. So it's going to be my base folder for the demonstration. Once you're in the folder, so let's say this is your Google Drive and you're creating it for school, then the chances are before you go any further, you're going to need to sort into even more subfolders. So for example, I might add a folder for maths and one for every single one of my subjects. So English. So when you open up your Google Drive, then let's say I want to put up an image for maths. So I go into my maths file. Now currently there's no files in it. Eventually there will be. And eventually what you'll find is that you might need smaller folders within this as well. So maybe you'll need a folder within here for documents you sent to your teacher, or a folder for chapter 1 and so on. You will figure out yourself as you go what needs to go in here. But I want to create a document, a revision document, we'll say, for maths. So I press on this and you can see here I can create a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, or Google Slides. I can upload something, or I could use my camera. So maybe I've done some work in my copy and I want to add it to my folder. I can use my camera mode and let's just take a picture of my case. Take my picture, it'll ask me to use the photo, allow all these access points, and then my photo will come up. And again, you want to make sure that on an ongoing basis your Google Drive is usable. So I mean, image 0002 tells me nothing about that image and doesn't help me. So if this was maths, then I tap on the 3 dots here and I hit rename, and maybe I'll call it exercise 11.1 and I rename. And now it's much more obvious that this is related to that particular exercise. Maybe I want to create a Google Slides for it. You can see there, you saw the little flash as I switched apps. So this is my maths presentation. And I click create and it opens up into my maths presentation. But up here on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see we have an arrow and drive. And that's because this maths presentation is automatically saved into Drive. So if I press that and I go back to Drive and I refresh my page, and there's the maths presentation and it's already in the same place. I can create a Google Doc to go with this. And again, we got that little flicker as this went out into the Google Docs app to allow me to create it and work on it. So I can type in it. And then when I'm finished, I can press the yes, and I can go back to here and I'll see it in the list because these are just my last opened files. But where is the file? The file is up here on the left-hand side. Go back to my Google Drive and just refresh that page. There's the file I just made. So by starting in Google Drive, all of my files are getting saved to the correct place. If I want to take photographs in class, for example, of a particular project or topic, don't take them straight from the camera roll. Take them from within the relevant folder in Google Drive. Get into that habit. You can go straight to the camera, take the photo, and the photo will appear in here. And take the extra couple of seconds to rename that photo there and then, so that you're not having to come back later on and you have loads of pictures and you can't tell what they are. Now, having said that, in relation to pictures, by pressing on the 6 little squares we were talking about earlier, you can get a preview of the pictures if you want to do it that way. But as I said, I find it easier to just do the rename. So now we have figured out how to create folders in Google Drive. So you need one for each subject generally. And then within that subject, we've talked about how to add photos, how to add photos from the camera roll. Maybe you took them from someone else or took them at another time and you want to add them later. How to create a new folder within this folder, Google Docs and Sheets and Slides within this. If I want to add a new folder, then let's say I want to talk about, this is my chapter 1 work. Chapter 1, natural numbers. So any work I've done for natural numbers, how do I move things into it? I hold my finger down on it and then I just drag it on top of it. And I can put everything that I've been working on this chapter into that document. So now when I come into my Google Drive for the first time, I see all my subjects. When I go into maths, I see my chapter. And then when I finish the next chapter, I can add everything into a new folder called chapter 2, and so on as you go through it. And you end up with a series of folders that are fully sorted out by topic.